Okay, do some online research on Caitlyn Jenner and Rachel Dolezal. Why is it socially accepted to change one's gender but not one's racial identity? Would it be possible to choose one's class identity freely? Okay, so these are two very different characters. Caitlyn Jenner was born Bruce Jenner and actually is a former Olympic champion in decathlon, winning the decathlon at the 1976 Olympics. And since 2015, the person that was until then called Bruce Jenner began to identify as a woman and adopted the name of Caitlyn Jenner, and also started a sex transition process, a process that was widely celebrated by the media and got her on the cover of Vanity Fair, photographed by Annie Leibovitz. In a way, this gender change was seen as an entirely private affair, as something that the person concerned could decide for themselves. It was completely different with what's happened to Rachel Dolezal. So Rachel Dolezal is of white descent. Her parents and her grandparents all identify as white. But she, at some point in her life, began to identify as black, and she was actually, until 2015, the chair of a local chapter of the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, which is one of the oldest organizations in the United States that fights against racial discrimination and injustice. So in many ways, what Rachel Dolezal did is that she performed the kind of reverse passing. Passing is a concept that is usually used to describe African Americans passing as white because they're fairly light-skinned in order to escape either slavery, when that still existed, or the ongoing racial discrimination and injustice afterwards. Dolezal, however, is white and identified as black, and then that came out. She was widely criticized for it. People thought that this was extremely offensive, and she had to apologize, and she has disappeared from the public eye ever since. So whereas the transition from one gender to another is seen as entirely private, the transition from one race to another, especially from a privileged race into a discriminated against race, is seen as extremely problematic because it's not regarded as a personal matter, because it is regarded as a communal matter. You're not supposed to claim the identity of people who historically have been victimized, and therefore we have these differences there. When it comes to class, I think the material basis that I talk about in the chapter stands against this. As long as you have a certain amount of money at your disposal, you cannot really legitimately claim, for example, to be working class, because money and not only these other more social factors that I talk about are important to determine class membership.